This evening, we're going to be discussing the topic relationships and parenting. How many of you are parents? Oh, that's why you're all here. There are no promises, but what we are trying to do this evening is to understand certain fundamental principles that will govern your relationships. Usually it is between parent and child, but relationships could be domestic, could be official, could be social. We all have to relate in the world. And you can't be choosy, because many times you are in a position where you land up with certain people that you have to relate to. Now the question is, are you able to? And are you able to function effectively? Because when you don't have good relationships, it could affect your work. It could affect your mental makeup, which is totally unnecessary. So irrespective of who you are in contact with, as a human being, we all have the ability to learn how to relate to the world. See, for example, a knife is a very useful and important instrument. Everybody has a knife in their home, and without it you cannot actually function. But if you don't know how to relate to it properly, what is beneficial, what is important, what is so practical could turn destructive. You could hurt yourself with the knife, you could even destroy yourself. It's possible. So it is not what you meet in life that matters, but it matters how you meet it. And everybody is more concerned about who or what you meet. Everything should be perfect around. I'm not saying you should not make correct things when you can, but to believe that I can correct the world to make me happy is not practical. A great Swami Ramatirtha, he comes from the north of India. He is no more. He died in 1906. So he said, correcting the world is like straightening a dog's tail. You know, you straighten it, you let it go, it goes back to exactly where it was. And all the time we are trying to correct the world. We're spending a lot of time doing that. It works for a while. But then you're disappointed because things come back to your, at least modern India. Those who are 60 plus would not have this problem because it were all arranged. And nobody knew who is marrying, till the day of marriage. Because it doesn't matter who you meet, it's how. But these days, want to know their partners. And no matter how much you move around, it's only after marriage you really know the person. That's when you say, this is not the person I married. Totally different, we say that. Even parents. So, many times, particularly in India, the boy has gone abroad and is studying very well, and she looks after the young person like a 5-year-old. He's 25. But beta doodh piyo. Doodh piyo what? 25-year-old. That's the way the mother's heart, She can't see the boy is grown up. For her, it's 5-year-old or 3-year-old. Child is a child. And usually, if you're born in India, brought up in a conservative family, mother is everything. Whatever she says is okay. Put up with it, youngsters. And he wants to go abroad, and she's so worried he's going abroad, and America, what will happen? She's very, very worried. Because American girls, terrible girls. And if they find a good boy, finished. So she's worried, what will happen? He was with us, he was under our, we were seeing him every day, he was so good. Now he wants to go abroad and study. She's terribly worried, terribly worried. So the boy goes and studies for 2 years or 3 years, whatever, completes his degree, and is coming back. So when you see the mother, you ask, what happened? Let's see. God knows if he's coming single or double. Worried. So the fellow came back single, he didn't come back double. So you see the lady, she said, are you happy now? He's come back alone. My son, he's a very nice fellow. Yeah. And poor boy comes back. He is in a different zone because he studied something, he wants to come and implement it in India and wants to make this country better or his city better. He's got so many ideas. So he's in that zone. He's not really worried about getting married and all. He is more interested in setting up a business or factory or something. He's in that zone, work zone. Mother's mother. So now she started, you meet her again, now your son has come back, is everything okay? What? It's not okay. What happened? He came back single. Yeah. Now he's saying, I don't want to marry. That has become a worry now. Because the boy only said, give me a little time, I want to settle down, I want to set up my business and everything, and then it's okay. But she's worried now. He said no, he wants to postpone it, and that is worrying her. See, relationship, you're talking about relationships. So then she starts going to all the weddings because she's looking for the girls. Every wedding she's there, looking, everybody she asks, Beta, how old are you? What are you doing? Because any girl she meets. So she was looking, searching. And the boy had assured her, Ma, you do whatever, because you both are going to be in the house, you decide. Whoever you want, I'm okay. She's happy about the fact that he's agreed, relieved. But find a good girl, that's the next problem. These days, girls, even India, very smart girls, don't know what they are, they all look all nice, but... So she's worried. Then after 3 months, you see her, how are you? Everything is okay? Because the smile has come back on the face. Says, yes, everything is okay. Bhagwan ki grace hai. I found a wonderful girl. Angel, she's angel. Acha, very good. So when is the wedding? Oh, we are planning. Another say, you must come for the wedding. Yes, of course we'll come. We want to see what happened. Who's that angel, After so many weddings, she found a girl. Wedding takes place. Marriage takes place. She's planned the marriage 6 months. I told, no, we are in Jalna, okay. Yesterday I was talking about the trend of Indian weddings today. First of all, destination. What is this destination? You're in Jalna, have a wedding here. No, if you're here, you must go to Spain or Italy or Kerala. Why can't we have a wedding in this? And then you'll cart one whole plane load of people there. This is the trend. Why are you doing it? Because the other fellow did it, I must do slightly more than the other chap. So that is a general trend. I must do more than what the others did. And the whole family is geared up for that. Not only that, what do you call it? Pre-wedding photo. See, all of you know. Sometimes the wedding doesn't last for 5 years. You spend so much money, And such a thing. And each one thinks they are Bollywood stars. The posing, posing this way, posing that way. Sorry to say, ladies, don't get upset, but they painted their faces so much, the husband said, is it you? Because these days it's very difficult to find out. The next morning only he'll discover, oh, it is this person. Totally different. They look different. All that for that one day or few days. Just can't be normal. So anyway, so the wedding took place and all that happened. Then 3-4 months passed. You see her somewhere, again her face has dropped. What happened? I thought, boy is married and you selected the girl. Yes. I selected the girl. That's the problem. What happened? She was an angel before marriage. Now she's not daughter-in-law, she's dragon-in-law. I don't know how this... So this poor boy, he came with that whole idea that, mother, I've left the choice to the mother and everything will be fine, because he is so fired by, I must achieve something. So he said, you both have to live in the house, you decide who you want. So he agreed to everything and got married, he was fine. So now when he comes home every day, newly married, so if he goes to the wife, mother is looking, see this boy, how he has changed. Straight he's going to the wife. He's not even said hello to me. She's very upset. Then the boy realized, mother is feeling little down, so maybe I should talk to her. So what he started doing after coming back from office, he'll go straight to the mother. So mother is happy, wife is saying. So now he's so confused. He said, if I go to the wife, mother's getting upset. If I go to the mother, wife is getting upset. Then he saw relationships and parenting. He's sitting here somewhere. So I have to tell him something, he's come, poor man. No matter what you do, it's not what you meet in life. It is how. How do you meet it? That's what we should try and understand. The first thing about human beings, we are all human beings. We are interacting with human beings. Somehow we have problems. Is there something you need to fix? Check. It's okay? All right. So, we're all human beings, and we're interacting with human beings. And that is where we seem to have a problem. You may ask why. I told you there's certain principles you need to understand. We don't seem to have problems with the rest of nature. Example, a rose is such a beautiful, somebody gave a bouquet of roses today. It's beautiful. Thank God for the wrapping. Otherwise, I'll be hurt. Why? Because a rose may be very beautiful, but it has thorns. Now, we understand that the rose comes with thorns. That is its nature. You cannot change it. And we are prepared to meet it the way it is. So when you, by mistake, pick up a rose and it hurts you, you don't curse the rose, stupid rose. You don't say that. You say, I'm stupid because I didn't see the thorn. I should have handled it better. So you fully accept a rose with its thorns. You don't have a problem. You deal with it the way it should be dealt with. When it comes to animals, you see a tiger is a ferocious animal. But you adore a tiger. It's so majestic. You adore a tiger. But you understand that it is a ferocious animal, so you got to be careful how you deal with it. You will not go near a tiger unless it's in a cage, because it can attack you. But you don't blame the tiger for that. You understand that is its nature. So you learn how to relate to it according to its nature and protect yourself and the tiger. So you don't say we should kill all tigers. It's a horrible animal. No, we are saying save the tiger. When you know it can attack you, it can kill you. You know that. But you don't have a problem with that. You adjust yourself according to the nature of the animal. You know, a lamb is meek and mild, you can go and pet it. You know, a tiger, even an elephant, you can go near it. If you're careful, you can approach an elephant, though it's such a huge animal. You're not afraid. But a tiger, you keep your distance. A snake, you know, understand it could be poisonous. Curse the snake. In fact, in some communities, they worship the snake, knowing it is poisonous. So you've got to be careful how you deal with it. So there are so many different types of natures in animals and the plant kingdom. And we do not have a problem with that at all. We learn how to relate to it perfectly. So we are able to coexist without a problem. But when it comes to human beings, tiger will be a tiger. A tiger cannot be meek and mild. It's not possible. You know it, you accept it, you learn how to behave with it. A lamb is meek and mild, you understand it, you accept it, you know how to behave with it. But what we don't understand and accept, there could well be a tiger waiting for you after this program at home in the form of a lady. If the men have come, the lady is waiting. It could be, you could have a tiger-like person at home. You could have a snake-like person at home. Nature. See, you try to do good, you give doodh, but it still has poison. It won't change. So you try to be nice to that person will talk only negative things. You say, why is she talking negative? That is her nature. So it could be snakes in the house, it could, please don't go home and tell all these things. And I'll be in trouble. What program did you go to? You go back and say, tiger in the house, tigress. So suppose you go home and man has come here and not the lady. See, you may ask, what is for dinner? There is something, what do you want? Do you want to have dinner? The wife may ask. So you'll say, yes, what are my choices? Yes or no? That's all. Don't ask any other question. Then you know, I'm in the right house. If the lady comes and says, what would you like to have? You should be worried, I came to the wrong house. This is not my wife. You know, you are prepared. You got to understand each one has a nature. They cannot change. So if you have that type of character, it could be a husband, it could be a wife, it could be children, it could be anybody. Why a boss in the office? Could be a lion, could be a bear, I don't know. Whatever the nature is, that will behave in that way. Why? Because he's helpless. Nature is like that. So if you are smart enough, you understand this is the nature of the person. Now why we are not able to do that, there's a reason. See, when it comes to animals, all animals have what you call a collective nature. Collective nature means all tigers are ferocious. All lambs are meek and mild. All snakes, they're not poisonous, but there are creatures that you'll keep your distance from. Because you're not predictable, you don't know what it is. There is no snake that is friendly. It's not like that. So with reference to animals, we don't seem to have a problem because they are predictable. They have a collective nature. You can easily understand. But when it comes to human beings, each one is different from the other. Everyone is different. We have what is called individual natures. But we are as helpless as any animal, unless you want to change. So you come, even a baby born, looks so cute and cuddly and all that. Wait till they grow up. That's how you were at one time. Now you have grown up into an individual and you have certain character. From where did it come? It was all in the seed form. And today you're what you are. You may be a pleasant person, you may be an unpleasant person, you could be dynamic, you could be dull. Different natures we all have because That is what we are born with, a nature. And each one has a different nature. They cannot change unless you wish to change. So this is the first lesson we learn. Unlike animals and plants that have collective nature and are predictable, human beings as we are, each one has a different nature. See, when we come to parenting, I'll tell you, parents also must understand their own children. They expect them to behave the way they are. No. Why is he so different? Other children are different in the family. This fellow is different. His nature is like that. You can't change it. So first lesson is to learn that everyone has a unique nature. It's time to accept that and then learn how to relate. So having understood that, there are certain principles, again with anybody, starting with your family and all the way to your official places. So what is it? What are the principles? The first principle in relationships is to develop an attitude of giving, not taking. Give, not take, should be the first lesson we learn. See, when you have an attitude of giving, what can I do for you? What can I give you? You're being unselfish. In a relationship, if you say, what can I get out of this marriage or out of this relationship? You're being selfish, self-centered. Now, what's the problem with that? See, when you are selfish, it's a mental attitude. See, when you are selfish and self-centered, you will be agitated. This is not being done. That is not being done. This was, not given. All the time you want to get out of a family or relationship, you will be highly agitated. It's nothing to do with your status. You could be middle income, low income, or high income, or extraordinary rich. The problems are the same. Volume is different. You'll have a problem with in hundreds, you'll have a problem in thousands, you'll have a problem with crores. Why? It's not given to me. So when you have an attitude of grabbing, taking, it's a mental attitude, you will always be agitated. I'll give an example. I know you're not convinced. From your faces, I know you're not convinced. What is this silly thing you're saying? I can't change it. What I'm sharing with you are laws of life. You cannot change it. Like there's a law of gravity. Understand the law of gravity? We are all sitting here because there's a law of gravity. If there was no law of gravity, we'll all be floating. I'll be floating somewhere. Because of law of gravity, you're sitting. I'm standing here. It's a law. You can't change it. You may not recognize it, but it's there. Similarly, this attitude of giving will give you peace. Attitude of taking will give you mental agitations. You can be the richest person. You can have a lot of wealth. You'll still be agitated. You'll be nobody. Also, you'll be agitated. Why? Because that mental attitude is to take. A simple example is, you go to kindergarten. You understand? You have kindergarten here? Play school? Yeah? Children go before 5 or I don't know, 5, I think, or before 5. They're very tiny, but they go for 2-3 hours, play and come back, some sort of learning. See, these children don't know how to pretend. Little children, we are all experts in pretending, When you say, aye, when you say that, you don't mean it. Who called this fellow? You'll ask your wife, please, come. You put on a mask. You don't mean it. But children are not like that. They have no mask. They're very, straightforward. They can't pretend. So you go to kindergarten, and you see, one child is playing with some pencil or some pen, some fancy thing, color, they have so many colors. And she's playing with that. And another little girl comes up and says, what you got? I got a pen. Where you got it from? My uncle got for me. It's from Germany. The little one, she's just saying that. So the other girl says, can I have it? Because she also wants to play with it. So the little girl is asking, her friend is asking, can I have it? Take it. Take it. You see the face of the child who's giving. She's smiling. Same class, another child has got another toy, playing with a toy, busy playing. And another little person, boy comes and asks, what you got? I got a car. My grandfather gave me that car. Acha? Can I play with it? No, don't touch it. Don't touch it. See the face. There's a frown on the face. He's not happy. Though he's having the car and he's playing with the car, doesn't want to share. The frown on the face. See, children can't pretend. So you know from that this principle that when you want to give, you're peaceful. When you want to take, you don't want to share, then there's a frown, meaning there's agitations. So, Tom Robbins, we have that? So these are all quotes which are good to remember. I don't know if you can see it. Some of the biggest challenges in relationships come from the fact that most people enter relationship in order to get something. They try to find someone who's going to make them good. Make them, feel good. I can't see this. In reality, the only way a relationship will last is if you see your relationship as a place that you go to give and not a place that you go to take. So it's not only our culture. Because these are facts. Any culture, anybody worth the name will understand what it is. So in a relationship, if you go to take, you won't be peaceful. So this is the first principle. Give, not take, is a mental attitude. There's nothing to do with what you actually do, because that you have to understand and do what you have to do. When you have to give, you have to give. When you have to take, you have to take. But you always want to give. You never want to take. That is the attitude. See, people go to hotels and stay overnight or whatever. All the samples will collect and bring. I've actually seen in somebody's house, because he's a frequent traveler, so many tiny bottles, many of them expired. But that compulsion that I must take, I've paid for it, I'll take. It's meant for you, it's a convenience the hotel offers so that in case you're forgotten, you've got something to use. Could be a lotion or a soap or I don't know what all they keep, shampoo, this, that. Everything must be, thank God they didn't bring the towels also. Some people carry towels also. That grabbing attitude. And your place is full of things which you are not going to use. Still you won't part with it. Such a person can never be peaceful. First. Second is duties, not rights. In a relationship, each one should think about their duty. What should I do? What I ought to do. That is my duty. What is my duty towards the spouse, husband or wife? What is my duty towards my elders? What is my duty towards the children? What is my duty towards my colleague at work? My colleagues. If you think about duties and not claim rights, this is my right. Fortunately, in this country, we are still not so westernized to claim rights. The West, it's all about rights. See, they have a prenuptial, what do they call it? Agreement. Prenuptial agreement. Have you heard of that? An Indian wedding, nobody has any, right, nothing. It's legal. It's a legal document. Prenuptial agreement. They will say, left side of the wardrobe is mine, right side is yours. You cannot cross. I'm not joking. Please find out. So this much you must, if we part ways, this much must be given to me. You've heard of what is it? Johnny Depp, is it? What's his name? Huh? Johnny Depp, huh? What was his name? Johnny Depp. You've not heard of Johnny Depp? How can you understand Vedanta? No, it's all educative, not to criticize. The court case was made public. It's a form of entertainment. We feel entertained. Imagine if you are in one of them, either the husband or the wife. What all accusations. So bitter. So if they don't have prenuptial agreement, they can't get along. Because invariably it lasts few years. It's understood. So what is it? It's my right. This is my right, you owe it to me. When a relationship is built on rights, there will be disharmony. It will perish. It's a law. When a relationship is based on duties, what am I to do for the other person, it will flourish, there will be harmony. See, it's an intellectual understanding. I need to do this. So a lot of people are worried, I will do my duties, that person will not do, what will happen to me? If you have that attitude, you're not acting on duty. It's a business. I do this, you do this, then it's rights. If you are duty conscious, you don't care whether the other person does anything for you or not. One-sidedly I do it. Why? Because that is what I must do. See, these lessons you have to learn from nature. Sun rises every morning and sets every evening. Are we even registering that? It has no motives, no desires, but it does it. What are we doing in return? Nothing. A tree yields fruits. We don't go and thank. In fact, if you have a mango tree and you serve mangoes, you're very proud. This is from my tree. Are my tree? What have you done for the tree? A tree is growing by itself and it's giving you, but you claim it. It does what it's supposed to do. Just give fruits. Whether you people thank it or not, I'm not saying now tomorrow go and thank your tree. They'll think something's wrong with you. Don't do these things. I'm only saying to be aware that every part of nature is functioning in the spirit of service and sacrifice, duty. Thomas Huxley, he talks about, it's not easy, but that is something we have to learn. About valuable, please read it, I can't read this.
Perhaps the most valuable result of all education is the ability to make yourself do the thing you have to do when it ought to be done, whether you like it or not. It is the first lesson that ought to be learned, and however early a person's training begins, it's probably the last lesson a person learns thoroughly. Thomas Huxley, English biologist.
I don't know if you're getting it. He's saying, now I can read it. It is the ability to make yourself do the thing you have to do. Underline. When it ought to be done. Not before, not afterwards. Afterwards you do it, nobody cares. When it ought to be done. And then, second point, whether you like it or not. You may not like it, sorry. You have to do it. It is the first lesson, just to be able to do what we ought to do, whether we like it or not. This is the first lesson we have to learn, and it's probably we will learn thoroughly. So, see, human beings, we have a choice. Please understand. You can make something out of your life, or you can destroy it. You have a choice. So these factors help you to make a good life, good relationships, harmony, peace. Otherwise, you can have all the facilities and be unhappy. So number one, give, not take. Number two, duties, not rights. And three, one of the most difficult ones to understand is love, not attachment. Love, not attachment. Now, most people in the world understand attachment because that is what they have. We must be attached, no? We must be attached, no? And the more you're attached, the more people are repulsed. You don't understand that. But love is not understood. Now, if I were to put an equation for you to understand, what is love, what is attachment? Love plus selfishness equals attachment. Attachment minus selfishness equals love. Love plus selfishness equals attachment. Attachment minus selfishness equals love. So love is nothing but identification. You feel like the other person. You know, you put yourself in the other person's shoes, as it were, and feel and think like the other person. This is identification. The other person's joys are your joys. Other person's sorrows are your sorrows. Other person's achievements you feel you've achieved. It's an identification. But that develops with the intellect, understanding. Doesn't come naturally. When you understand a person, that's when your love develops, that identification. And love is unconditional. No conditions are put. Usually, you say you love another person. It could be, again, a spouse, it could be parent, it could be child, it could be friend, it could be colleague, it could be anybody. So you say, I love another person because that person caters to me. Materially, I'm giving every birthday, I'm given a gift. That person really cares. That's when you say there is love. Because one birthday, if the person forgets, finished. That's why some of the business people and professionals, which I know, we know, they keep, the secretary reminds, today is your wife's birthday. Ah, thank God you told me. Roses are sent. And the lady saying, so he always thinks of my birthday. He never thought, secretary remembered. So people believe it is impulse and demonstration. That is love. That is not love. It is just a demonstration. That doesn't mean there is love. Or, instead of understanding the other person, promises are made. Especially in the Western, way of the marriage, they make promises. Till death do us apart. They take those vows. They are not waiting for death. Within few years, it's gone, the marriage. And the problem is, they believe, no, it didn't work out, so they get married again. Second time, third time is normal. And then they'll introduce husband and wife. This is my son from the first marriage. That is the daughter from the second marriage. You don't know who you're meeting. It's very confusing. You know? And the thing is, the man comes with his load of kids. The woman comes with her load of kids. By the time you say 6 children are there from different marriages. It is common. We have not advanced that far. India has not gone there. But we are trying to imitate the West. So before we imitate, let us try to understand what is worth imitating. There are many good qualities the West has, which we should learn from. Their dynamism, their punctuality. I'm happy to see everybody seated. Usually, they start coming in late. We don't understand punctuality in India. That's something we should learn from them. See, when you go for a wedding, if they say 7:30 wedding, 7:30 na, 9:30 jate hain, ye kya hai? Because the bride and bridegroom haven't arrived. 7:30 is printed in the card. 7:30 evening reception. Bride and bridegroom arrive at 9:30. If you go there early, you say, what's the point? Nobody will be there. So when we used to go, few weddings we have gone with Swamiji, we are punctual. 7:30 means on the dot 7:30. The watchman is inviting us. Nobody is there. The parents are not there. Nobody is there. What to do? We sit for some time, wait for somebody to come and say, we've come, please tell them we came and went. No, you must stay. Who's going to stay till 10 o'clock for dinner? No, we've got other things to do. But that is the norm. Everybody comes late. So I'm saying there are things to learn from them, but not about marriage. And you will be surprised. The first marriage, they end in divorce. The second marriage divorces are even higher. You don't learn from that. See, these are stats that I have collected from the internet. Do we have that stats? So here you are. First marriage, they're saying here, 40 to 50% marriages end in divorce. Second marriage, 60 to 67%. And third marriage, 70 to 73. So you're trying and trying, it's not working. Why is it? Because of attachment. See, the relationship is not based on values, but on pampering and pleasing. Demonstration. Valentine's Day. When did we know Valentine's Day? You are my Valentine. Now it started even in India. It's a celebration. Because we are imitating the West. We think that's being fashionable. And if you want to be fashionable, you'll be miserable. Both come together, you know. So the way to go forward with a relationship is to develop love, not attachment. And love today is conditional. You put conditions. I think it was Oliver Goldsmith who said, and love is still an emptier sound, the modern fair one's jest, on earth unseen or only found to warm a turtle's nest. He says, love is still an emptier sound. I love you. People keep saying that. It's just an empty sound. The modern fair one's jest. Modern fair one, in modern life, people have this habit of saying this. I love you, it goes on. On earth unseen, it's not like he was a frustrated person. He's trying to tell us whatever we call love is conditional. And it's found in a turtle's nest because it so happens that the turtle lays its eggs and goes away. It doesn't come back to the nest. But it is done with so much care that they hatch and the little turtles go into the sea. That is, to do what you ought to do to the best of your ability without expecting anything in return. That is unconditional love. I accept you for what you are, not what I want you to be, however right I am. That sort of an unconditional feeling is true love. So I've just given you a few ideas on how relationships will work. But since it's a long way to understand these values and implement them in life, some tips are useful in relationships, which we will just go through. Now, first tip, but this is short-term relief. Because after some time, you'll say, I don't care. I heard that lecture for 1 week, I'll observe others, I can't be bothered. You will give it up, because you need to develop an understanding to keep it going. So it's just a tip. What is the tip? First is, understand that you have to accept another person unconditionally. Like I said, a tiger is a tiger. So some people are very dynamic. Some people are dull. Now you expect the dull person to be dynamic, a dynamic person to be dull. Quiet. It won't work. Some people are vocal. They go on talking, can't stop talking. You expect that, why you go on talking? That's why I don't like to come home, the man says. If I talk also, I'm wrong. There will be an argument. Because the person cannot change her ways or his ways. Another person, a husband, doesn't talk at all. That is the wife's problem is, this fellow doesn't talk at all. The mauni he is, anything I ask, he's looking somewhere in the clouds. That is her problem. He's a quiet fellow, now what to do? He won't talk. But you want a quiet man to talk? You want a talkative wife to keep quiet? It doesn't work. That's why they say the best relationship is between a blind wife and a deaf husband. Well, the man will be walking and he looks some one side, And then she'll say, what are you looking that side? I just turned my neck neck is hurting, one side I'm looking. No, there must be something there. Unnecessarily she will suspect. So there's a problem even if you see. So if she was blind, there wouldn't have been a problem. And the man, he says, this lady, I have enough in the office. I come home, she goes on talking. Doesn't keep quiet. I can't eat my food. If I'm eating my food, sun rahe ho. Can't, if I was deaf, how nice it would be, I don't have to listen to this. Constantly talking. So each one is not able to understand how the other is functioning. And that can affect a relationship. So first point, tip, is to accept the other person unconditionally. Now you put earplugs, let her not see it. If that is the problem, intelligently you got to adjust. Because each one is helplessly functioning according to his or her nature. What tip you can have, in talking or listening to your wife, ladies don't get upset. Same thing, listening to the husband also we can say. Same thing, okay? Listening to the husband, listening to the wife. Spouse, your spouse, is like going through the terms in the internet. Internet terms and conditions. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. What do you do in the end? I agree. You've not seen anything. So similarly, when the spouse goes on talking, listen, yes, I agree. That's all. No problem. Unconditional. That's the first one. Next important one is, see, people tend to express love. You got to do it intelligently. See, medicine is good. But more than the medicine, dosage is important. Suppose you say this is a good medicine and down the whole bottle, you will be admitted in the hospital. Because dosage is very, very important. So similarly, love is a beautiful feeling of oneness, but the expression of love has to be done intelligently. So what happened some years ago, I saw it in the paper and I'll share it with you. A Swiss man, was pampered by his father. And here you are, spoilt Swiss man with monthly $10,000 allowance, sets fire to his Ferrari, so that his rich dad could buy him a new one. It was an insurance fraud. And the CC cameras picked it up. And not to talk of what all this, he must have been in his 30s. It was in the papers, right? New York Daily, 2015. So it's not I'm not concocting it. That's actually the picture of the Ferrari set on fire. Ferrari. And he had one of 15 cars that he had. And he wanted an upgrade. And he didn't know how to ask his father. He put it on fire, set it on fire. So the father's obviously giving him so much because they're wealthy. But what is the feedback? Fellow can't ask the father, he's putting it on fire just to get his way through. So you don't blame him, you blame the parent because it was unintelligent expression. See, to whom, what are you doing, how are you doing is very important. Just because you have the resources, if you start expressing unintelligently, it will boomerang in a negative way. So accept unconditionally, express intelligently. That's the dosage. The dosage is important. Now, I know some of you are going to misuse this. You'll go home and say, don't ask me anything because it's dosage. I've given you too much. Please don't misquote, because then I'll have problems. People will start calling me, don't come back to Jalna, you're giving all wrong ideas to our... So you've got to understand the principle. That's it. And then another very important tip is 2 hands to clap. Even the other person is going on doing something. Don't contribute, there won't be conflict. No confrontation. So when you have an intellect, buddhi, capacity to think, you're able to receive another person's expression. If you're emotional, you can't receive. You want to give back. You told me this, you wait, I'll give you 10 more words. And there's a big problem going on in the house. And who's enjoying? Your neighbors are enjoying. They started. Something must have happened. The fellow is screaming and the lady is screaming. You are entertainment, live entertainment for everybody around. Because confrontation, when you have, and it becomes unpleasant. So these are tips that give relief, only relief in a relationship. But it's the principles that we talked about that will build a good relationship with anybody, spouse or children or colleagues. Now friends, very quickly we'll get into parenting. We've got a few minutes left. Our experience with children. Parents tend to have unreasonable expectations from their children. Each parent, will say, my son, he's very smart. I think he's very gifted. Such a young age, you see what all he can do. Each parent believes that their child is gifted or wants to feel that the child is gifted. So, is special, is gifted. And what parents tend to ignore is what is the nature of the child. So this is the first experience we have with children, parents. And another thing is, because of our feeling that they're gifted, they're special, every child is gifted, every child is special, we impose our fantasies on them. See, what we did not achieve, we say, no, they will get it, they will get it, they must get it. Oblivious to what they want, what they need. Instead of finding out what they want, discuss and present and suggest what they want, we'll say, no. There are parents who say, if a parent is a doctor, son must be a doctor. He may not be inclined for medicine. It's actually happened. He may be inclined for engineering. And he goes through medicine, not at all interested in medicine, and completely changes his life later on. So parents have a tendency to put their fantasies on the children. And then you find there's an observation that some children are rebellious. Other children don't react, don't respond. Unresponsive. Who has created that? Parents. So when you constantly tell them what to do, depending on the nature of the child, if he's an aggressive person, he rebels. He'll give it back. And somebody's trying to control him all the time. Don't talk like that. Don't behave like that. Don't talk like that. Not realizing that we are contributing. When the nature of the child is passive and you go on, dominating them, they stop responding, reacting. And you say, what is wrong? I don't know why this child is not talking anymore. Doesn't react, doesn't act normally. Jao, go and talk. And they won't go. They won't want to do it. But you push. Why have they become unresponsive? Because of constantly dominating on the children, telling them what they must do all the time. So these could be the experiences we have with children. Now, how do you counter that? What must we do? The first duty and responsibility of parents, even teachers, elders, leaders, it could happen even in office, incidentally. It's not about children. It's about anybody who's subordinate to you. It could be people who work for you. It could be colleagues at office who are subordinate to you. Same principle is the same. What is it? Number one, it is your duty to find out what is their swadharma. Swadharma, do we have it on the screen? Swadharma is a Sanskrit word. It only means one's inner nature. Each one is born with a swadharma. Swadharma, nature. So one person's swadharma could be for medicine, another person for engineering, a third for business, a fourth for it could be anything. You should take the trouble, if the child is not clear, You must take the trouble to find out what is their nature and support their swadharma. Then they will prosper. So a businessman will want the son to do business. He may be interested in engineering. But you say, then what have I built this business for? That is your problem. I hope I'm not upsetting somebody. Anyway, fortunately I'm going away, so it's okay. I'll tell what I have to tell and go. Because these are facts. He may sit in office, but he must be thinking of engineering. If the car is, suppose automobile engineering, he is interested, you put him in the business because you've created a business. And you want yours, you put him there, he's a misfit. And he will, if the car is not working, he'll say, wait, I'm coming. He'll leave all the business problems and go and fix the car with the driver. Why? Because he's interested in automobile engineering, which you never encouraged. So the whole life is miserable because a person is not doing what he would want to do. This is swadharma. And you have the satisfaction that I've passed it on. You examine business houses. If it is done in this manner, they don't last more than 3 generations. If second generation somehow manage, by the third they become rebellious. They say, I'm not interested, close it down. Lot of business houses have come to an end because it's not swadharma. So whether we like it or not, if an individual is to prosper, you need to find out the swadharma and help the person find the right education and right vocation accordingly. So that's the first duty of parents, particularly with relation to children. And then second one is to develop a concept of initiative as different from incentives. The parents often have a habit. If you do well in the exam, I'll get you this. It's incentive. Now you're starting the training of children with incentives, meaning you'll get a reward. Instead of saying, this is what you ought to study, do it well. It's an ideal in life, an initiative. You need not connect your rewards with what they ought to do. You ought to study, study. If you don't study, you fail. Okay, stay in the same class, it's all right. But you need to study to pass, to do well. And if you do well, you will be in a better position to choose your subjects later on in life. So it is far more difficult to develop an initiative, to study for the sake of study, not to write the exams. If you train them for incentives, whole life they'll be looking for incentives. So later on, they will work for salary, not for the company. So who's put the seed? Parents put that seed. Constantly rewarding. If you do this, I'll give you this. So one of the things that we have done in the academy is, we have an academy. We have a lot of staff working, maybe 50, 60 people working. And Diwali, Diwali comes, you must give gifts. We don't. But throughout the year, we will give them something or the other. Some gift, somebody gives us donation, something happens, we distribute the clothes and different things that they need throughout the year, but not on Diwali. Diwali, we wish each other, happy Diwali, out. Otherwise, we're training them to expect some reward on that particular day. Forget Diwali. Birthday, the chairman's birthday, so we are distributing. If you connect it in this manner, it is incentives. You're getting them used to incentives. Initiative is you work for work's sake. And whatever you wish to give, please give freely. Don't connect it with an event. You train your children in that manner. You yourself don't look for rewards. You will find they prosper. They have the right attitude towards work, towards the relationships. And lastly, the most important discipline that parents need to remember is you cannot correct or help children unless you set the example. It's very easy to become parents, but to know what it takes to be a parent is to set the example. So the Bhagavad Gita says, Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tattateva itarajanaha. Whatever the leader does, not says, others follow. So normally we preach, we tell them what to do. That they won't listen. What you do, they watch and learn. So Robert Fulghum, he says, don't worry that children never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. You know, we say they don't listen to us. They are not listening because they are watching. They are very smart. They know my parents themselves are not disciplined. Why should I be disciplined? So it is not easy to be a parent. Everybody becomes easily. But having become a parent, you have a huge responsibility to lead that life yourself. So if you lead a life of values and discipline, then chances are, it's not that they will follow, chances are that they will follow. So whether it is your spouse, relationship at home, or in the office, or with your children, what will help you in life is to gain higher values. I gave a few values, but there are books outside that will help you gain values of life. And when you live these values, you strengthen your understanding and intellect. Your emotions, as we said, you develop pure love, pure feelings, not selfish feelings, not conditional feelings. No, you're more, you understand the value of true love. And your actions should be unselfish. If you maintain these three in your life, it's a lot, I know that. But that is what human life is all about. You will not have a problem with relationships or parenting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunandaji. We request Suresh Agrawalji to present a bouquet to Sunandaji as a token of appreciation.
बड़े उत्साहित हुए हम आपका भाषण सुनकर.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We request everyone to remain seated as Sunandaji leaves the stage as we have some short announcements. This event is a part of the ongoing efforts of Vedanta Cultural Foundation to promote higher values in society. If you wish to donate towards these educational activities, please contact our colleagues outside. Your donation would enjoy income tax exemption under Section 80G. The Vedanta Cultural Foundation funds the 3-year residential courses at the Vedanta Academy as well. The Academy also conducts various short-term events such as our upcoming youth program, which starts on 18th of December. You may find details about it and other events at the enquiries counter outside. On your way out, kindly collect bags containing Guru Prasad and a brochure outlining the various avenues of learning Vedanta in Jalna and Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar. Weekly classes on Vedanta are conducted in Jalna by the alumni of the Vedanta Academy. To register for these classes, kindly scan the QR code given on the brochure. Please enjoy a hot beverage while interacting with our Vedanta alumni at the registration counter. Thank you.